Welcome to our section on gross domestic product, or GDP. In this section, we examine, well, as you would expect, gross domestic product, which, if you're not familiar with what gross domestic product, or GDP, is, it's the measure of the output in the economy. I guess that's the short definition. We are going to go into the in-depth definition soon. We spend a fair amount of time on GDP because it's one of the main ways you measure the well-being of an economy. And we spend time looking at both, why it's a good measure and also some of the drawbacks to GDP. So some of the questions we'll be examining: what is gross domestic product? How is it related to a nation's total income and spending? Components of GDP? How do you correct it for inflation? And does it measure the well-being of society? Or probably the better way to phrase that might be is, how well does it measure society's well-being? So GDP measures the total income of everyone within the economy, and this is the way the total income is going to also be the same as what is the total expenditures on goods and services. So both goods and services are included in there. So the relationship that's noted here for the economy as a whole, the amount of money that's spent on goods and services is also going to be the amount of income, right? Dollar a buyer spends is a dollar of income for the seller. The dollar of income you earn either goes to invest, and it goes into savings, which turns into investment, or goes into consumption, right? So the income equals expenditure. The circular flow diagram, which I really don't spend that much time on, but it's still worth you seeing, if for no other reason, as most principles of macroeconomic courses do cover this, so it's worth you seeing. The circular flow diagram, as the name would suggest, shows how resources will move through the economy in a circle, right? There are times where you will be the consumer, but there will also be times where you are the producer throughout your life, simultaneously. For me, I am a producer of labor, and Susquehanna University hires me or purchases my labor. So in a way, I am a seller of the labor, but then I'm a consumer of a lot of other products, right? And kind of the money goes through a circle. It's the same idea of this, right? Factors of production: labor, land, capital. We've covered that already before. Payments. Factor payments are payments for those factors of production. Wages. So households own the factors of production, sell or rent them for firms, and buy and sell goods and services. The firms sell the goods and services, buy or hire the factors of production. So you end up seeing a circular flow here, right? Households spend money on goods and services, which goes to firms. Firms hire labor, land, capital. Really, labor, wages, and rent are the big things. From households, goes back to the households. Either one is going to measure our GDP. So you have a market for goods and services, a market for factors of production. It's a circle, right? It's the circular flow diagram. I don't spend much time on that, but now you've seen it. This was a simplified version, doesn't include the government yet, the financial system, the foreign sector. You can get more complicated with this, but we're not going to be doing that at the moment. So what is GDP? The definition here is, I have never in my life gone through a definition with a class in more depth than what we do with GDP and what we will be doing right now. So it's the market value of all final goods and services produced within a country in a given period of time. Right? Sounds simple enough, right? Every word in here really is there for a reason, and it's pretty key to know this definition exactly, and and why it's there. So why is the word market in there instead of just the value of all final goods and services? Well, goods are valued at market prices. Whatever the products are sold for on the market, that's what they're valued at. Same units, dollars in the US, but anything that's not on a market is excluded as well from GDP. So housework you do for yourself is not counted. We don't shade of all, but all is included, right? Everything that goes through the market, all goods and services are counted, but we do only count final goods and services. The reason we don't count intermediate goods is a final product. Let's say you buy a new car. We don't count separately. If you spend $20,000 on a new car, we don't count separately the tires that the car company bought from the tire company, right? You spent $20,000 on a car that contains the tires. If we also counted the car company buying the tires from the tire place, then we would actually be double counting the tires, because really it's embedded in your purchase of $20,000 contains the tires and everything else about that car. So if we counted the intermediate goods, we would be double counting. So the final goods, as said, it already embodies the value of the intermediate goods used in the production of the final goods. GDP includes goods, right? DVDs, mountain bikes, beer, and services. Dry cleaning, concerts, cell phone service. If any of you become financial advisors, which some in the business school at Susquehanna University go on to do that, you're providing a service, right? Service is counted. Everything, the word produced is a big word because it's things that are produced now, not in the past. The given period of time helps define that as well, but it's produced within a country. So anything done within the borders of the United States counts to the US GDP. This is different from what we used to use for our national income accounting, which was GNP, or Gross National Product. Gross National Product captured the value of all of the production from a country's citizens, whether those citizens were in the US or abroad. And if there were non-citizens in the US producing products, they wouldn't have been counted in gross national product. We now use GDP. Quite frankly, if you see one number, they're pretty similar. I wouldn't worry too much. If you see somebody using GNP and sometimes in other coursework, you'll still see that used. No, that it's about the same, but that is the difference. Is it done by a country's citizens or within a country's borders? We use GDP, that's within a country. Then in a given period of time. The usual measurement period is a year or a quarter. So a year or a quarter is the usual measurement of time.